like a diamond in the sky. When the blazing sun is gone, when the nothing shines upon, then you show your little light. Twinkle, twinkle all the night. Then the traveler in the dark thanks you for your little spark. He could not see which way to go if you did not twinkle.
Chapter 3, Part 1. Primo Dubio. The next morning John woke up 1 hour earlier than on a normal day. He turned his alarm off and stared at the ceiling for a few minutes. He stood up, stretched his muscles, and went into the bathroom where he took a shower. After he was dressed and made a coffee, he sat down on the couch where he quietly enjoyed the morning silence. After a few minutes, he decided to watch the morning news and turned on the TV. While taking a sip of his coffee, he sat down when the broadcast began. He saw that the image was a little scrambled and distorted. A well-dressed anchorman, who looked like he was awake for a while, appeared on the screen. Good morning. This is the news of Friday, March 20, with today as highlights. The police announced a raid in Nijmegen to arrest possible terrorist suspects. Special nebula event over the Netherlands is worldwide, and the European climate change top meets for an emergency meeting. But now first the weather. Today is cloudy and warm. Temperatures running out of 19 degrees in the north and 22 degrees in the south of the country. In the second half of the afternoon, rain will come in from the southwest. John got up, still a bit sleepy, and walked to the window. He took another sip of his coffee and looked outside. It was still a bit dark, and the sky was cloudy, just like the anchorman had told. The magical northern lights that had captivated everyone yesterday had disappeared. John looked at the street lights, and his thoughts drifted off. The breaking of the daily routine, and life goes back to normal as if nothing happened. Life now consists only of sleeping, eating, and working while we retire or die? John sighed and drifted off again. We are all sheep following a daily ritual, and we are so familiar with it that given if something happens like the nebula, we are all in a form of panic, because everything we know changes in that moment. And for most people, change is something outside their comfort zone. I refuse to believe life is only this and nothing more. There are still too many mysteries we never pay attention to. He took the last sip of his coffee and looked at the clock. Then he pressed the off button of the TV remote, walked to the kitchen, and put his coffee mug in the sink. Then he grabbed his briefcase, put his coat on, opened the door, and like almost all mornings, looked at André, who stepped out of his apartment. "Morning, André," John said kindly. "Good morning, John. Had a nice evening with Sandy?" Andre nodded, smiling. Once you get a girlfriend and an aurora is decorating the sky, you can be sure that you will have a very romantic evening. It's just so unfortunate that it's so rare. I'll think of your wise words next time I have a date. Laughing, they both walked down the stairs and stepped outside. They were surprised to feel the comforting temperature, and they remained silent for a moment. It was not exaggerated by the weather station. 22 degrees in the middle of March. We're very lucky by that hole in the ozone layer, said Andre, joking. John frowned and unbuttoned his coat. Andre waved him goodbye and walked to his car. John waved back and walked down the street towards his work. The building where he worked was huge, with lots of glass windows where several companies were established. When he walked towards the main entrance and tried to enter the building, the automatic door system did not open. Broken, he heard behind him. You should go to the left side of the building and take the emergency exit. A man from the security shone his flashlight inside the electrical box next to the building. Thank you, said John. As long as the main doors are not working, we will keep the emergency doors open. John nodded and entered the building through the emergency exit. The tiles of the hall were of dark marble, and the walls were decorated with modern art. The hall was well lit by spotlights in the ceiling. Behind the reception, an older woman with blonde hair was busy with a laptop, and she had a look on her face like a thunderstorm. Good morning, Sonia. What's going on? Well, today is a day when everything goes wrong. It started at the main entrance where the sliding door didn't work. Then my PC wouldn't start up, and now I have a laptop of which the screen keeps distorting. And if that wasn't enough, my cell phone is about to break, because I keep hearing a strange buzzing sound when I call someone, and I can't make up a thing of what they're saying. If one more thing goes wrong, I'm going to scream. Very strange. I had some distorting and scrabbling images on my TV this morning when I watched the news. Do you know if there are more people in the building who have these type of problems? Yes! This morning is like no other that I have ever experienced. The IT specialists and electricians are working hard to solve the problems. I wouldn't be surprised if your PC doesn't work either. Long live the technological era, John said sarcastically. Well, I wish you good luck, Sonia. John walked towards the elevator, but saw a sign with defect on the door. Then he heard a very familiar voice. Come on, dude! A real man takes the stairs! Nick was 3 floors up with a big grin on his face, looking down. Shouldn't you be working? John said, laughing. Nick was a bit taller than John and had a shaved bald head. He was always dressed in expensive suits and matching shoes. Clothing had always been a hobby for him, and most of his salary was spent on it. He and his ex-wife were divorced 3 years ago because Nick was not able to conceive children, and this caused such a pressure on the marriage that as a result they finally decided to separate. Nick still suffered occasionally over the divorce, but never showed it to the outside world. All computer desktops have problems and are being replaced by laptops. Ours will be replaced in about an hour. IT is working from top to bottom, said Nick. Yes, of course, the board first. When John arrived upstairs, they walked into the office where they worked together. The office was brightly lit by fluorescent beams, and in the middle there were 2 desks placed opposite of each other. A small table with some newspapers on it and 4 chairs around it stood against the wall. John put his briefcase down and looked at Nick with a familiar look. "Coffee!" they said at the same time.